Okay, I hope I'm audible and visible. Please let me know if I am audible and visible to you clearly. Okay, thank you so much, Ishika. Very good evening और जय हिंद टू ऑल ऑफ यू। आज हम लोग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन टॉपिक से क्वेश्चंस प्रैक्टिस करेंगे। आप लोगों को पता है इट्स अ वेरी इजी टॉपिक। व्हाट यू नीड टू डू इज रीड द पैसेज, अंडरस्टैंड इट एंड देन ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट द आंसर्स फ्रॉम इट। नाउ क्योंकि हम ये ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म में इन इस टॉपिक से क्वेश्चंस को प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, तो मैं एक ही बार आप लोगों को कॉम्प्रिहेंशन के पैसेज दिखा पाऊंगी। तो जब आप रीड कीजिएगा, ट्राई कीजिएगा चीजों को याद रखने की, ताकि उसके बाद जो क्वेश्चंस में दिखाओ उसका आंसर आप कर पाओ। ठीक है? So let us see what our live classes were there today. Today is 27th of February और सुबह 9 बजे डेली डिफेंस अपडेट्स की क्लास हो चुकी है। एनडीए सीडीएस का पहला क्लास 12 बजे था जीके की। इट वाज टेकन बाय दिव्यांशु सर। 3:30 बजे बायोलॉजी की क्लास थी बाय शिवांगी मैम। और अभी मेरे साथ आपका इंग्लिश का क्लास है। So as the direction says, you have to read the passage and answer the questions that follow. As usual, this is how you need to answer comprehension passage. तो ये रहा पहला पैसेज, इसका 2 स्लाइड है। तो let me know in the chat when you are done with the first part, that is the first slide. I will change the slide and you will read the second slide as well of the first passage. So this is the first slide. Everyone read it quickly. I'll give you some time to read it and let me know in the chat to change it. I'll change it and then you have to read the rest of the passage from the next slide. Okay, I'm changing the second slide. Now moving on to the second slide. Please read this as well. Okay, so now let us read the passage together from the beginning. It is an old saying that knowledge is power. Education is an instrument which imparts knowledge and therefore indirectly controls power. Therefore, ever since the dawn of civilization, persons in power have always tried to supervise or control education. It has been the handmaid of the ruling class. During the Christian era, the ecclesiastics controlled the institution of education and diffused among the people the gospel of the Bible and religious teachings. These gospels and teachings were no other than a philosophy for the maintenance of the existing society. It taught the poor man to be meek and to earn his bread with the sweat of his brow, while the priests and the landlords lived in luxury and fought duels for the slightest offense. During the Renaissance, education passed more from the clutches of the priest into the hand of the prince. In other words, it became more secular. It was also due to the growth of the nation state and powerful monarchs who united the country under their rule. Thus, under the control of the monarch, education began to devise and preach the infallibility of its masters, the monarch or king. It also invented and supported fantastic theories like the divine right theory and that the king can do no wrong, etc. With the advent of the Industrial Revolution, education took a different turn and had to please the new masters. It now no longer remained the privilege of the barren class, but was thrown open to the new rich merchant class of society. Yet education was still confined to the few elite. The philosophy which was in vogue during this period was that of laissez-faire, restricting the function of the state to a mere keeping of law and order, while on the other hand, in practice, the law of the jungle prevailed in the form of free competition and the survival of the fittest. So now we will look into the questions one by one. हर क्वेश्चन के लिए आपको 20 seconds का टाइम मिलेगा. ट्राई कीजिएगा 20 seconds में क्वेश्चन पढ़कर आंसर करने का in the chat. The first question is, who controlled education during the era after the Industrial Revolution? Industrial Revolution के बाद जो era आया था उसमें कौन education को control कर रहा था? The monarch, the priest, the barren class, none of these. Quickly guys. Answer क्या होगा? Ishika is saying D, none of these. Very good. क्योंकि Industrial Revolution के बाद education कौन control कर रहा था ये पैसेज में नहीं बताया गया. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, व्हाट डज द थियोरी ऑफ डिवाइन राइट ऑफ किंग स्टिपुलेट? क्या बताता है डिवाइन राइट ऑफ किंग थियोरी? क्या बताता है द थियोरी ऑफ डिवाइन राइट ऑफ किंग? पैसेज में क्या बताया गया है? A, absolutely right answer Ishika, that the right of governing is conferred upon kings by God. ये जो उनका अधिकार है कि वो रूल कर सकते हैं, ये किसने दिया है? गॉड ने दिया है. दैट इज द डिवाइन राइट ऑफ किंग. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, व्हाट डज द एक्सप्रेशन हैंडमेड ऑफ द रूलिंग क्लास मीन? रूलिंग क्लास का हैंडमेड ये फ्रेज यूज किया गया है पैसेज में, इसका मतलब क्या है? क्या होगा आंसर? इसका आंसर होगा ऑप्शन सी, समथिंग फुल्ली अंडर द कंट्रोल ऑफ द रूलिंग क्लास. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, हु कंट्रोल्ड एजुकेशन ड्यूरिंग द रेनेसां? ये हमें बताया गया है पैसेज में. रेनेसां के टाइम पे कौन एजुकेशन को कंट्रोल कर रहा था? द चर्च एंड द प्रीस्ट, द सेक्युलर लीडर्स ऑफ द सोसाइटी, द प्रिंस, द कॉमन पीपल. ये तो बता ही सकते. फटाफट आंसर कीजिए. हु कंट्रोल्ड एजुकेशन ड्यूरिंग द रेनेसां? It was the church and the priests, not at all. The church and the priests used to control education during Christian era. Renaissance के time पर it was the prince who was controlling the education. That means the monarchs, the king. Okay, so C is the right answer. Next question, what does the word infallibility mean? Infallibility word का मतलब क्या है? Ishika is saying A is the right answer. Absolutely right. Infallibility का मतलब है कि जिससे कोई गलती नहीं हो सकता. The virtue of not making any mistake. So absolutely right answer. Next question. What did the ruling class in the Christian era think of the poor man? गरीब लोगों के बारे में क्रिश्चियन ईरा में जो रूलिंग क्लास था वो क्या सोचते थे? That he should be strong, that he is meant for serving the rich, that he deserves all sympathy of the rich, that he is beloved of the God. Ishika has answered correctly. It is B. उनको बताया गया था कि आप बाइबल पढ़ो, यू रिमेन मीक, you work hard, okay, and you earn your bread while the rich and the priests will be enjoying their luxurious life. So that he is meant for serving the rich is the right answer. Next question, who controlled the institution of education during the Christian era? मैंने अभी कुछ देर पहले ही आंसर दे दिया है आप लोगों को. क्रिश्चियन इरा के टाइम पे कौन एजुकेशन कंट्रोल कर रहा था? यस, जयेश इज एब्सोल्युटली राइट, द चर्च एंड द प्रीस्ट. सो डी इज द राइट आंसर. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय द स्वेट ऑफ हिज ब्राउ? इस फ्रेज का मतलब क्या है? स्वेट ऑफ हिज ब्राउ. वेरी हार्ड वर्क. The answer is D. Okay. So the sweat of his brow का मतलब है that it's an idiom. So it will not be see the tiny droplets of sweat on the forehead. ये तो literal मतलब है. Sweat of his brow मतलब माथे का जो पसीना है. लेकिन माथे का पसीना किस phrase में हम use करते हैं? When we are doing very hard work. So here we have to talk about the meaning of the phrase. Sweat of his brow का मतलब है very hard work. So D is the right answer. Ishika is right. Next question. Why have persons in power always tried to supervise or control education? जो लोग पावर में रहा है वो लोग हमेशा क्यों एजुकेशन को कंट्रोल करना चाहते थे? Very directly in the passage it is said. Very good, Ishika is right. It is B, because it is an instrument of knowledge and therefore power. एकदम first line में ही passage में ये बात लिखा गया है. Next question. What does the philosophy of laissez-faire stand for? laissez-faire का क्या philosophy है? C. The answer is D. It is not C. Laissez-faire means free trade, where the state will not control anything that a person, an individual, an organization produces. प्रोडक्शन फील्ड में या ट्रेड फील्ड में कोई कंट्रोल नहीं होगा. अब सी आप बोल रहे हो इशिका, इंडिविजुअल फ्रीडम इन द इकोनॉमिक फील्ड. इकोनॉमिक फील्ड मीन्स इकोनॉमी इज अ ह्यूज वर्ड. इट्स अ ह्यूज, I would say a wide, it's a huge category. उसमें laissez-faire means trade, only in trade, not in economy. Economy तो गवर्नमेंट कंट्रोल करता है किसी भी देश का, या रूलिंग क्लास जो है वो कंट्रोल करता है. इंडिविजुअल फ्रीडम और फ्रीडम while you are in trade. Okay, so इसलिए आंसर इज डी, none of these. Okay, it's a French term, laissez-faire, which means free trade. Now we are done with first passage. We will move on to the second passage very quickly. इस passage का भी दो स्लाइड है. पहला स्लाइड मैं आपको शो करूंगी, रीड करने के बाद मुझे चैट में बताइएगा. आई विल चेंज द स्लाइड. So this is the first slide for the second passage. Read everyone quickly. Shall I change the slide? Okay, so I'm changing it. Here is the second part. Okay, I hope it is done. Let's read the second passage together from the beginning once again. Since July 1991, the Government of India has effectively put the liberalization policy into practice. The drastic steps even include some administrative reforms for pruning the government agencies. Last year, the Japanese business circles represented by the Ishikawa mission called attention of their Indian counterparts to what they considered to be the major impediments in India. However, thanks to the almost revolutionary reforms put into effect by the Indian government, those impediments either have been removed or now are on their way out. This development gives a new hope for the future of economic cooperation between the two countries. At the same time, it should be borne in mind that there is a stiff competition with other countries, notably China and Southeast Asian countries in this regard. The success stories of Asian countries welcoming Japanese investments with adequate infrastructure are already known in India, but it may be useful if further studies of Japanese joint ventures in Asian countries be made by Indian business circles. The coastal areas of China have initiated a very active campaign to welcome foreign economic participation. Beyond our bilateral relationship, India's more active participation in global economy is needed. India certainly deserves a far bigger share of world trade, considering its vast resources. It is strongly hoped that the Indian government's recently initiated effort of enlarging its export market would bear fruit. India has steadfastly maintained its parliamentary democracy since independence. Considering its size, its population, and its internal complexity, the overall maintenance of national integrity and political stability under parliamentary democracy is remarkable and admirable indeed. Here lies the base for the status of India in the world. By effectively implementing its economic reform with the support of public opinion, this democratic polity of India has again demonstrated its viability and resilience. At the same time, it gives hope and inspiration to the whole world, which faces the difficult problem of North-South confrontation. So this passage is a very serious passage और ऐसे passage ही आपके एनडीए या सीडीएस एग्जाम में ज्यादातर टाइम पे पूछा जाता है. Okay, now I would suggest that you remember whatever we have read in the passage, and along with or on the basis of the knowledge, the idea that you have gained from the passage, we will try to answer as much as you can. Okay, let's start with the first question. It can be inferred from the content of the passage that the author is a or an author कैसा है? Economist, Japanese politician, Japanese bureaucrat, political analyzer. Mir is saying option A is the answer, and you are right. The author is an economist. So A is the right answer because the person is constantly talking about the economy and the economic conditions of India, Asian countries, and others. Very good. Second question. The author seems to appreciate India's national integrity and political stability, particularly in the view of which of the following: the size of the country, India's population, its internal complexity. All three. Mihir is saying all three, and you're absolutely right. Passage के बिल्कुल last paragraph में ये बताया गया है कि इतना कुछ होने के बावजूद भी द कंट्री इज मेंटेनिंग इट्स इंटेग्रिटी एंड पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी. वेरी गुड. नेक्स्ट वन. The author feels that India has a better status in the world market because of its giant size, effective bilateral relationship with other countries, vast population, success in political stability and national integration in democratic setup. World market में better status India का क्यों है? Ishika is saying D is the answer. Very good. Again, आपको पैसेज के लास्ट पैराग्राफ में ही एक लाइन में बताया गया है, दिस इज द स्टेटस ऑफ इंडिया. ओके, बेसिक स्टेटस ये इंडिया का है इन द वर्ल्ड मार्केट, इन द ग्लोबल मार्केट, बिकॉज इट कैन मेंटेन इट्स नेशनल एंड political stability under a parliamentary setup. That is why it has a better status in the world market. Very good. Next question. Which of the following statements is true in the context of the passage? India's successful experiment of economic reform has become an inspiration to the world. The size, population, and internal complexity of our country are the barriers in the way of attaining national integrity and political stability. A few government agencies were not in favor of liberalization policy at the beginning. कौन सा statement true है? Mir is saying A only is true. Ishika is saying all three are true. The answer is D. So Mihir is absolutely right. Only the first one is correct. B correct नहीं है, क्योंकि बताया गया है कि इंडिया का साइज बड़ा है, पॉपुलेशन ज्यादा है, इंटरनल कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी है, उसके बावजूद भी इट हैज अटेन्ड नेशनल इंटीग्रिटी एंड पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी. पर बी में क्या बोला जा रहा है? दे आर द बैरियर्स, व्हिच इज रॉन्ग. सी में बताया गया है फ्यू गवर्नमेंट एजेंसीज वर नॉट इन फेवर ऑफ लिबरलाइजेशन पॉलिसी. ये तो पूरे पैसेज में कहीं बताया नहीं गया है. So it will be D. Only A is correct, where India's successful economic experiment of economic reform has become an inspiration to the world. Okay, it has been able to create a good status in the global market. Next question. Choose the word. This is very easy. Which is most nearly the same in the meaning to the word given in bold. जैसे steadfastly. इसका आपको synonym बताना है. Same in meaning. क्या है मतलब steadfastly का? Ishika is saying faithfully. Very good. Right answer is D. नेक्स्ट आपको बताना है रेजिलियंस वर्ड का भी मोस्ट नियरली द सेम मीनिंग. व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ रेजिलियंस? मिहिर इज सेइंग अडेप्टेबिलिटी, एंड यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट मिहिर. अडेप्टेबिलिटी इज द राइट आंसर. वेरी गुड इशिका. नेक्स्ट वर्ड इज प्रूनिंग. इसका भी आपको सिनोनिम यानी सिमिलर मीनिंग बताना है. प्रूनिंग का मतलब? मिहिर इज सेइंग एनकरेजिंग. नो. प्रूनिंग का मतलब है ट्रिम करना. इशिका इज राइट. यू प्रून द हेजेस और द प्लांट्स और द श्रब्स, है ना, ट्रिम करना. ठीक है. सो प्रूनिंग मीन्स ट्रिमिंग. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. नाउ यू हैव टू चूज द वर्ड विच इज ऑपोजिट इन मीनिंग. ओके, टू द वर्ड स्टिफ. स्टिफ का ऑपोजिट आपको बताना है. क्या होगा? यील्डिंग. एब्सोल्युटली राइट इशिका. स्टिफ मीन्स कठोर और यील्डिंग मतलब सबमिसिव. ओके, सो दैट मीन्स गिविंग अप. So that means who gives up? Weak people. So B is the right answer. Next, indelible means delicious. Okay. Next word is vast. इसका भी आपको opposite बताना है. Very easy word. Vast का minor is the opposite of vast. Are you sure? Minor is opposite of major. The right answer is meager. Ishika is right. Meager मतलब बहुत कम. Vast is huge. Right? चलो नेक्स्ट वर्ड इज इम्पेडिमेंट. इसका भी आपको ऑपोजिट बताना है. इम्पेडिमेंट का ऑपोजिट. Okay, I'll give you the answer. Furtherance. The answer is furtherance. Very good, Ishika. Ishika is right. Impediments matlab obstacle. So furtherance means when you are progressing. All right. Very good. Now we are done with second passage. I will move on to the third passage. और third passage का 3 slide है. So it's a slightly longer passage. Again, we will start from the first slide. Then you will tell me. I'll move on to the second and then to the third slide. Try to remember as much as you can. The third passage is here. Please start reading it. I'm changing the slide, moving on to the second part of this passage. I'm changing now to the third part of the passage. Here you go. Okay. So now let us read the passage again from the beginning together. We should recognize the indebtedness of the country to its farm families who toil to safeguard national food security. Loan waiver is the price we have to pay for the neglect of rural India over the past several decades. There has been a gradual decline in investment in key sectors related to agriculture, such as infrastructure, marketing, post-harvest technology, etc. The 4 crore farmers whose debt is to be relieved will be eligible for institutional credit for their cultivation expenses during Kharif 2008. They delve into the debt trap again. For this purpose, the central and various state governments should set up an indebted farmers support consortium comprising scientists, Panchayat Raj officials, and others relevant to assisting farmers to improve the profitability and productivity of their farms in an environmentally sustainable manner. The smaller the farm, the greater is the need for marketable surplus to reduce indebtedness. The Indebted Farmers Support Consortium should aim to get all the 4 crore farmers all the benefits of the government schemes, such as the Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, Irrigation Benefit Program, and others. If this is done, every farm family released from the debt trap should be able to produce at least an additional half ton per hectare of food grains. This should help increase food production by about 20 million tons by 2008. At a time when global and national food stocks are dwindling and prices are rising, this will be a timely gain for our national food security. We need to ensure that the outcome of the debt waiver is enhanced farmers' income and production. The prevailing gap between potential and actual yields in the crops of rain-fed areas such as pulses and oil seeds is over 200% even with the necessary technologies on the shelf. We are now importing without duty large quantities of pulses and oil seeds. If helped, farmers can produce these at a lower cost. Opportunities for assured and remunerative marketing are essential if loan waiver is not to become a recurring event leading to the destruction of the credit system. This is why the minimum support price is necessary for all, not just for a few crops, which is the case at present. This is the single most effective step to make loan waivers history. There is another urgent step which needs to be taken. The loan waive does not cover those who borrow from money lenders. It will not be possible for the government to scrutinize the veracity of such private deals, but steps can be taken, such as giving them smart cards, which will entitle them to essential inputs like seeds and fertilizers. The Gram Sabha can be entrusted with the task of identifying these farmers so that there is transparency in the process and elimination of the chances for falsification and corruption. Fear of occasional misuse should not come in the way of enabling millions of poor farmers who have borrowed from informal sources if we are to achieve the goal of 4% growth in agriculture. So it's a longer passage. Please try to remember as much as you can and answer. Let's start with the first question. What is the likely impact of ensuring farmers benefit from government schemes? They can use the credit from these schemes to repay money lenders. The government can control the price rise, increase agricultural production. गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स जो प्रोवाइड किया गया है फार्मर्स के बेनिफिट के लिए, अगर वो हम इंश्योर करें तो इसका लाइकली इम्पैक्ट क्या होगा? क्या होगा आंसर? Mihir is saying both A and B. The answer is B. Both B and C. Okay. A is not the answer. It will be the government can control the price rise and increased agricultural production. ठीक है? Schemes में से जो स्कीम्स है उसमें क्रेडिट नहीं दिया जा रहा है मनी लेंडर्स को रिपे करने के लिए, उसको आइडेंटिफाई करने के लिए दिया जा रहा है, नॉट टू रिपे द लोन्स. ओके, इट इज अ लोन वेवर स्कीम बेसिकली. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. Does the writer, do the author fact that rural is overlooked in the past? इसका क्वेश्चन आई डोंट नो, थोड़ा सा अलग है. मतलब what this question means is that how does the writer arrives at the fact that the rural is overlooked in the past? पास्ट में रूरल को नहीं देखा गया था, उसका ख्याल नहीं रखा गया था, ये कैसे ऑथर बता रहा है? Is it institutional credit was only made available for kharif crops, crops in investment in central areas related to agriculture? Records of those eligible for loan waivers have not been maintained over time. Jaish is saying A, both A and B. The answer is C, only B. Okay. It is not A, it is not C, only B is the answer. Crops in investment in central areas were related to agriculture. Okay. Next question. How can small farmers avoid debt? स्मॉल फार्मर्स कैसे डेट को अवॉइड कर सकते हैं? ओके, इसका राइट आंसर मैं बताती हूँ. ए, जयश इज सेइंग ए. द आंसर इज डी. दे हैव टू एंश्योर अ सफिशिएंट अमाउंट ऑफ देयर फार्म प्रोड्यूस इज सोल्ड. ठीक है, सो दैट इज योर आंसर कि जितना वो एक छोटा फार्मर होके भी उनके लैंड से जितना भी प्रोडक्शन हो रहा है सफिशिएंट अमाउंट उसमें से वो बेच सके, तभी वो डेट को अवॉइड कर सकेंगे. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. व्हाट इज द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ द इंडेटेड फार्मर सपोर्ट कंसोर्टियम? इसका क्या पर्पस या ऑब्जेक्टिव है इस कंसोर्टियम का? It has to devise new government schemes for farmers. It has to evaluate government schemes and weed out the inefficient ones. It is a support group for the families of indebted farmers. Yeah, none of these. इसका राइट आंसर है ऑप्शन डी. ओके, नन ऑफ दीज. इंडेटेड फार्मर सपोर्ट कंसोर्टियम का ऑब्जेक्टिव कोई भी नहीं है इसमें से. Next one, what does the author mean by the phrase indebtedness of the country to its farm families? कंट्री जो है फार्म फैमिलीज के लिए indebted है, इसका क्या मतलब है? Citizens should be grateful to farmers and their families for the hardships borne by them to cultivate crops and safeguard national food security. The number of farmers' descendants taking up agriculture has fallen. If farmers are in debt, it impacts the entire country. India's food production has fallen, causing it to be in debt because since it has to import food. Indebtedness of the country to its farm families. Why is the country indebted to the farm families? पहला सेंटेंस है ये पैसेज का. Because it's a very easy one. Answer is A, because of the hardships that they are bearing, because they are cultivating the crops and they are safeguarding national food security. That is why the country is indebted to them. Okay. Next question. What is the author's opinion of recurring loan waivers? Recurring loan waivers के लिए क्या opinion है author का? They are detriment to the system of lending. Farmers will no longer be in debt to money lenders. They are beneficial to farmers. They will reduce the need for a minimum support price for agricultural products. Mihir is saying B is the right answer. The answer is A. They are detriment to the system of lending. बार बार अगर लोन को वेवर कर दिया जा रहा है फार्मर्स के लिए, दैट मीन ये जो सिस्टम ऑफ लेंडिंग है, लोन देने का जो सिस्टम है, वो तो खराब हो जा रहा है कि बार बार तो आप लोन नहीं ले रहे हो. यू आर वेविंग द लोन ऑफ. रिकरिंग मीन्स हैपनिंग अगेन एंड अगेन. So it is detrimental to the system of lending, right? Next question. Which of the following is true in the context of the passage? Loan waiver is a permanent solution to indebtedness of farmers. India's food production has increased into 2008. The minimum support price for agricultural products is yet to be implemented. Current agricultural growth is below 4%. कौन सा ट्रू है? Which one? It is D, not C. It is D. Current agricultural growth is below 4%. लास्ट लाइन में क्या लिखा है पैसेज में? हमारा जो ड्रीम है 4% ग्रोथ का एग्रीकल्चरल सेक्टर में, वो नहीं फुलफिल होगा. मतलब अभी तक फुलफिल नहीं हुआ है. राइट? सो डी इज द राइट आंसर. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. व्हाई डज द लोन वेवर नॉट कवर क्रेडिट टेकन फ्रॉम मनी लेंडर्स? मनी लेंडर्स से जो लोगों ने उधार लिया है उसको लोन वेवर क्यों नहीं कवर कर रहा? It is difficult to verify these contracts between farmers and money lenders. It will increase the deficit in the budget. There is a risk that the funds may be misappropriated. पैसेज में बताया गया है बहुत क्लियरली क्यों मनी लेंडर्स से जो लोगों ने उधार लिया है वो लोन वेवर के अंडर नहीं आ रहा है. आंसर इज सी, बोथ ए एंड सी. ओके. नंबर वन, पहली बात तो है कि वेरीफाई करना बहुत मुश्किल है कौन कहाँ जाके किससे उधार ले रहा है, क्योंकि इट हैज बिकम प्राइवेट. मनी लेंडर से जब वो क्रेडिट लेते हैं तो प्राइवेट हो जाता है. सो गवर्नमेंट कैन नॉट कीप ट्रैक ऑफ दैट. एंड सेकेंड थिंग इज दैट देर इज अ रिस्क कि जो फंड्स इसमें से दिया जाता है वो मिस अप्रोप्रिएट होगा, क्योंकि पैसेज के लास्ट में लिखा है कि अगर हम इस डर में रहते हैं कि फंड्स विल बी मिस अप्रोप्रिएटेड और इट विल बी करप्टेड, तो हमारा जो गोल है 4% ग्रोथ का एग्रीकल्चर में वो हम अचीव नहीं कर पाएंगे, है ना. तो इसीलिए ए एंड सी आर द राइट आंसर्स. Moving on now to the next question. Why is there a vast gap in actual and potential yields of crops in rain-fed areas? Rain-fed areas में actual और potential crop yield में क्यों gap है? No technological advances have been made to improve the growth of crops in these areas. Farmers are forced to sell these crops at a low rate. The government prefers to import these crops at a lower rate. None of these. None of these. The answer is D. Very good, Jayesh. You are absolutely right. Next question. How does the government intend to ensure transparency in the smart card issuance process? Smart card issue करने के जो process है उसमें government कैसे सोच रहे हैं कि transparency लेकर आएंगे? This is the last question. Please answer carefully, guys. Granting access to those farmers who register with their local money lenders. regularly rotating members of the Gram Sabha so there is no corruption, screening private players involved in the scheme. The Gram Sabha can be entrusted with the task of identifying farmers. बताओ क्या बताया गया है पैसेज में? जिनको स्मार्ट कार्ड इशू करेंगे उसमें ट्रांसपेरेंसी कैसे मेंटेन करेगा गवर्नमेंट? द आंसर इज it is D. The Gram Sabha will be entrusted to identify who all people or who all farmers have taken credit from their private money lenders. वही सिर्फ बता पाएंगे. And that is how the smart cards will be issued to them. Okay. The responsibility will be on the Gram Sabha. And so with this, we complete our practice session from the topic of comprehension, as it is a very difficult task in online platform, क्योंकि मैं बार बार आप लोगों को पैसेज नहीं दिखा पा रही थी, पर आप लोगों ने ट्राई किया जितना भी हो सके पढ़कर याद रखने का एट वन गो, एंड यू हैव आंसर्ड ऑलमोस्ट ऑल क्वेश्चंस करेक्टली. तो मुझे इतना भरोसा है कि जब आपके सामने वो पैसेज रहेगा बार बार वो पढ़ोगे और वहां से आंसर करने की कोशिश करोगे. ड्यूरिंग योर एग्जाम इट विल बी क्वाइट इजी. So now, in the next class, we will move on to the next topic, which will be discourse markers and expression. ये एक हाल फिलहाल में नया टॉपिक है जो इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया है दोनों एग्जाम में ही, एनडीए और सीडीएस में. और ये टॉपिक फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स के फॉर्मेट में आता है, जहां पे यू हैव टू फिल इन द ब्लैंक विद द अप्रोप्रिएट डिस्कोर्स मार्कर्स. ओके, सो इस टॉपिक पे क्वेश्चन हम प्रैक्टिस करेंगे इन आवर नेक्स्ट क्लास, विच विल टेक प्लेस ऑन मंडे. So make sure that you are attending the class on Monday. If you have now anything to ask, you may ask me. Anyone has anything to ask? Okay. So I'll see you then on Monday. Everyone take care, enjoy your weekend, and goodbye.